Hi, this is Manda from Leta's Textiles podcast. In light of recent events in the world this week, our podcast episode today for Tap Tuesday is taking a little bit of a different turn. I would suggest, while we don't talk directly about the events that happened last week, we do talk about the divide in our country. And as a parent, I would suggest parental discretion for the episode. I think it's a great episode. I think Leta and I got a little too emotional in this episode. But I do think it's a conversation we need to have across not just the political spectrum, but across our entire society and across our entire world. So, like I said, sit back, relax, as much as any of us are right now. If you enjoy this episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow. If you're listening on the streaming services, you can always go watch our YouTube channel, Leta Tap Styles and My Autistic Life, to see the visuals of Leta screaming into a pillow at times. If you're watching this over on YouTube, you can always stream our podcast on the go at Leta's Tap Styles and My Autistic Life, anywhere you get your podcast.
Hey, on this life. I am Lena. That's my mom. This is. I, I just don't know at this point, but this is something.
So check, your name is on the podcast. It literally says Leta's
I
Tap
said
Styles.
my name.
What you said was, I don't know what this is. And last I checked, this is Leta's Tap Styles and My Autistic Life. And it's been
I meant life right now.
all right. So life has been fun, right? Okay, so
Let's just roll with it.
it's been a long day as we're recording this. It's been a long week, actually, probably
Let's
for
see. We were gonna. It was gonna be about ducks, right?
that was definitely, it was going to be about ducks. No, it's been a long week. As we're recording this, it's Monday. Last week here in America was, if you're watching on YouTube, Leta's response is probably all of our responses. It's been a long week as Americans. But even with the external stuff, and I think we discussed talking about that today. We need to start talking more as a nation and not talking over each other and not holding each other as enemies. And I think that's one of the problems you and I have had with the dance world.
Is it because I act too much like human?
Oh, it's because a lot of times dance studios tend to see parents as the enemies. And with a kid who's complex needs or a special needs or an autistic kid, there was a lot of assuming they knew better than me, or knew better than you even, and they weren't willing to listen, which left both sides of the conversation very upset. They were usually upset that you were angry, hurt, and took what they were saying wrong. You and I were usually upset going, if you had listened at any step of the way, we wouldn't be in this situation.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize crying tears was suddenly anger now.
You mean from the dance teachers? Upset doesn't necessarily mean okay. But upset doesn't necessarily mean angry. Upset can mean sad, frustrated.
Wait, but you didn't say upset.
Didn't well, I meant to say upset. But I think one of the things we've lost in the country as a whole right now is the ability not to debate, but to communicate. You have a
Lost. To begin with.
like we've lost. Well, okay, so we have over time as a country had issues with our worst selves, and usually our better angels persevere and prevail. But I think the ability in this country to A lot of times when I would go to dance studios and go, "This is what Lita needs," and when they would come to me and go, "No, I'm not going to let her be held back by her autism. I'm not gonna let her, have any limits," and I would go up and go, "That's kind of what a disability is. It's a limit, and we have to work within this limit." The next statement out of their mouth would be, "I am not the enemy," and it's like, all I said was, "You have to."
You know, you are the enemy. You
That was normally my next thing is once you label, because it was, "I'm not your enemy," and it's
nobody,
like, "Yeah,
nobody
but you're."
said that.
eh,
Nobody don't have to be getting a little aggressive. Also, no, you need to be aggressive in a simple conversation. Nobody, nobody said you need to be aggressive in a wee, nice little discussion. Nobody said you have to be aggressive. As aggressive girl.
The amount of people who, just because I was coming to them and challenging their viewpoint of what autism was, would automatically go, "You need to realize I'm not the enemy," and I'm like, "I wasn't doing anything. I was just challenging your viewpoint," and suddenly your response is, "You need to think I'm not the enemy," and it made it where I was feeling like they weren't willing to listen, that things, and it was multiple teachers of yours, in traditional studios, who came up and said, "If you allow Lita to be autistic, she will never know how far she can go. So what we're going to do is we're gonna work with her as though she has no autism, as though there is no limitations to where she can go." And it's like, why would the disability limit her? It changes how you can do things with her, but doesn't limit her. And the next statement I would hear is, like I said, "I'm not the enemy," which shuts down the conversation. And that is definitely something we've lost the ability to do even on a personal level in this country. Not governmental, not,
You
but
know what? At this point, the government can communicates better than the citizens.
I one of the things I've noticed with Autistic Wings Dance Company is parents come in thinking we think they're the enemy. They come in shocked.
Oh, okay. No, nobody said you had. No, nobody said we were. No, nobody said we were gonna be automatically aggressive towards a past
Past experiences.
interactions with people. Never mind, never mind. I would see why they would think where we would be passively aggressive towards, since every single dance studio seems to be.
It's not just the dance studios with the autism. You see this going on right now in the autism community itself. You have people who were diagnosed. Yeah, he does have flu for brains. But one of the things that I think has, over the last year, been sad to see, but it's been a thing in the community overall, is you've got the parents of level 3 kids who are screaming from the mountaintops that no one's listening to them, no one's, that they see everyone who's not agreeing it with exactly how autism works as the enemy. You've then got the late diagnosed, which, all everyone seems to think I was. They're like, "Oh, were you diagnosed with ADHD in your 40s?" No, I was in my tweens, uh, which used to be late diagnosed, but the late diagnoses are coming up with this, like, "Oh, autism is my superpower," and they're coming.
Family, I'm still free. I free.
But what I was trying to say is there's a lot within even our community. So when I'm going to, like, dance studio owners and dance studio teachers, when you were in traditional dance studios and going, "We need XYZ," they thought they knew better than me because they'd been listening to this influencer or that influencer. And I think instead of, the big deal is it's not just the debating. Do I like a good debate? I love a good debate. But I think it's the taking time to sit down and actually listen to people and listen to what they're saying and digest. Because I would always want to have a conversation with, like, the dance teachers who would come up and go, "I'm not going to let her be autistic." which of course hurts you when someone's like, I won't let you be autistic.
Yeah, I also usually also assume that they're also pinch everything else. Also possibly racist.
But on the other hand, but there's the thing, you shouldn't be while it was ableism, I honest to God do not believe a single one of them meant to be ableist towards you or towards me. I think a lot of people just felt that they were doing what was right for us without asking you or I what was right for us. And I think you're seeing that within the autistic community too, with these influencers who are telling, especially you and I, who grew up as autistic, you need to sit down, shut up, and I'll tell you what autism is.
It feels on the fact that everybody keeps saying the fact that the parent is still even though the child's growing up. Yeah, sometimes your brain hates you, and then you have to quickly remember what that English.
But I mean, you and I both had a lot of people go, "When did you find out you were neurodivergent?"
Uh, uh, very, very quickly, it was obvious. And apparently, that person said all her friends knew since I was 2 months into the work.
It was a little later with you than we should have known because we were assuming part of it was because of how early your premature birth. But I think the lack, and it goes back to what I've been thinking. I think, and I am definitely rambling because it's been an emotional week with everything going on in this
Months.
country. But I think one of the things that caused us to start Autistic Wings, and one of the things both of us have been fighting against is that not having a true conversation. It's one of the things that the moment the parents walk in the door, they're looking at me weird because I'm like, I need to have a true conversation with you about your kid. I need to know about your kid. I can't teach them unless I know them. And I think this this need to say anyone who disagrees with me is my enemy that's perpetrating our society.
No, 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 no. This is like reason why we did the American Revolution.
This is not the get off my lawn. I think there are some things where there are right and wrong. But even some of the stuff that came out last week, what I would have considered black and white was not black and white. Thou shalt not kill. I don't think we're having a debate on that. That just it seems we are.
But then again, thou shalt not kill is still not completely black and white. I mean, sometimes you just have to do.
But I mean, thou shalt not murder.
Well, not like kill in the sense of you have to murder someone. Kill in the sense of yeah, that person's in too much pain. We just let them have a nice peaceful death because they're in so much pain and they aren't gonna have a good quality of life.
a whole different discussion right there because but I think we've gotten to the point that the politics in this country has become so
Black and
divisive.
white.
Well, are seeing politics as black and white, and they shouldn't. The best part about politics is having that discussion, that debate, change my mind. But because we've gotten so black and white in our politics, because we've decided that if you are conservative or liberal, the other side, and this is the extremes, but those extremes seem to be getting more and more extreme on both sides. Because I cannot fathom sitting down and talking to you like a person. I am going to see you as the enemy. I'm going to see you less than. I'm going to see you as a monster. I'm going to see you as a, you know, demon. I'm going to see you as possessed. That's coming down further and further into people's relationships because people are doing things like they're not talking to family because you don't agree with me politically. And then you get down to things as simple, well, but they're not simple. Get down to that bottom level of dance. And every single studio you have been in has had that thought process of I'm the teacher. If you disagree with me, you must be my enemy, which causes an issue because if it if people had bothered to hear what we were saying and had an actual conversation, no, there are some things I wouldn't have agreed with. Your hip and your autism aren't magically going to disappear, but it did make me think as a parent, and I think you as a child, when you're going, well, if you let her have a disability, she will never see how far she can soar.
I'm sorry. I limp, and I cannot change the factor that sometimes I limp.
You have been limping like bad since we got home from Santa's workshop
And
today.
nobody has to mention it.
No, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, these dance teachers would be like, oh, it's a good thing she's limping coming out of the dance studio. And I'm like, you don't understand. Her hip is bad. Her limping means that there is actual pain, like more pain than a normal student. Oh, no, you need to fight through the pain. And because they,
Yeah, and I have really learned how to not cry, and every time I want to cry now, the tears won't come out in
I,
any scenario.
we got to Cascade this morning before we recorded this, and my statement to you was I have to go walk off the pain in my knee to see if it'll walk off. It has not. But for some reason, driving up 24, my left knee, which is my bad knee, the one without the MCL or the meniscus membrane, don't need those obviously, hurt like hell. But I think that's the thing that this last week really brought out again is the thing that always annoyed me the most. And you know this is those dance teachers would automatically jump to, "You're the enemy."
Yeah, also being passive aggressive.
Weren't meaning well, to me, they were being passive aggressive, but to you, they were really trying to show you they loved you.
Person, you went in that class.
I'm saying they didn't mean to be. I'm not even sure they meant to be passive aggressive to me. I think
Give
what
me
it
the
is
last time a passive aggressive person ever meant it.
oh, when I'm being passive aggressive, trust me, I mean it.
But no, I meant one that isn't my mother that people should feel respect.
I never here's the thing, I never gave your dance teachers any reason to fear me out of rightful respect, but all they did was when and this is back to what's been bugging me for the last week is we have come so far as a country, you cannot have different facts without someone being the enemy.
So we got into the 21st century, and instead of progressing, we're degressing. Well,
No,
we
but
are.
probably. But no,
We are definitely degressing as a society.
my thought process here on this, and uh, we are shocked that what happened in Utah happened. Like, as a nation, everyone was shocked, but in reality, that's where we're leading with everything else. We are in Colorado. Evergreen had another school shooting last week. We are at the point where there is no communication being done. It's not even just the debates, but as simple as and it shows in the dance studio. When we bring parents in, the number one thing we hear them say is, "You see me, you see my child because you've asked me, you're communicating with me, you want to talk with me." And that shouldn't be something a parent is crying over, is that we want them to talk to us about their child.
You know, I just wish that America could be like multiple wee little wolf packs. That's before, if I even dare knows barely anything about zoology, because so help me, Hollywood apparently decided that no, it's no alpha isn't a thing. So yes, no, they just all follow the elders.
I mean, you're right. But here's
Also, plus wolf packs are like adorable in the therapy. And have you seen wolves when they're just being like
I have. The thing is, I think it's hurting everyone because it definitely hurt all the dance studios we had to pull you from because they wouldn't listen. They knew everything. They were afraid of having that discussion.
except the one in New Mexico?
Yeah, but even then there were some issues. But I think there's a huge thing to be said, especially right here, right now. You cannot it's not just a political villainization we're doing. We see teachers are villainizing parents. And it's not just dance teachers. You see public school teachers getting on social media and villainizing parents. Well, then you see parents turning around, getting defensive and villainizing the school teachers. No wonder students don't respect anyone.
Plan. We could all have, I don't know, come in and not make it with it. And I think that be. Don't know, it may have goddamn. Don't know, it may be goddamn less violent. Don't know, maybe everyone knows. And anyway, my. In the regular world, it's so nice. It's more about. Terrible right now because nobody will talk. Conversation. Chaos. I think I'm gonna say something. I mean, me? No, I am up. Especially but emotionally because we can have a conversation because this go back right now. Not up. We didn't give. And because I hate in my life, I hate that the world even goddamn good because makes sense because the stores, and no, they didn't like they had a political thing. They have a political thing. But unless the dinosaurs had any goddamn political thing, like the animal political status, like that, be like the animal, just of the government and how the government's doing. Why? Say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, we have to be all about, oh, hey, what's the political thing? What's the political thing? Political thing. Big status. That would be less in the world. Do hell, I don't care anymore. I am better.
Or how about this, Leah? Just bear with me. What if we actually gave a damn about our neighbor? I mean, I'm not as religious as
Would
was my
actually
youth.
give a damn about their neighbor if they didn't give so much damn about the political status.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot to be said for we've lost.
Barely think all the adults right now are even mattering about the political status. Dying.
Okay, for
In the 1900s, helpless. I'm not wrong again.
crime's going down, but good mic drop there. But I mean, here's my thing. One of the reasons we started Autistic Wings is because love thy neighbor is not happening. It's not sympathy is not a thing at the moment.
In adults.
I think some adults have it, but I think even mentioning, and you saw it on social media this last week, people who are center and who aren't political came out and said, this is wrong. This is wrong. And they were suddenly losing followers, 30, 40, 50,000 followers for some people, million.
Except to those people who unfollow people for saying this is shitty wrong. If you were in the 18th century, you would all be claimed as either witches or wizards.
I think this is how divisive the country has become. And I think that people are saying it as a political divide, and it is a political divide, but I think that has gone so far down in our society right now. Sure. I think one thing that people I hope took away from this week is conversation's important, not just debate. Debate is talking at each other a lot of times. Have legitimate conversations because it has been a thing in autistic wings when parents are like, my kid has a speech issue. And I'm like, great, that's helpful. And could you explain to me the speech issue? And you're screaming into a pillow right now. For anyone who wants to see Lita scream into a pillow, that's over on the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, by the way, we do have this as a podcast. So you can always stream this later on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all that stuff. But I think that's also been a problem here with starting Autistic Wings is how many dance studio owners have you heard and I've heard go, "Oh, I'm perfect with my autistic dancers," and then come out and say everything we do is wrong, and when we're like, "But can you explain to me why you want XYZ, why you don't understand XYZ?" There's like, "Oh, well, I'm not the enemy."
You really are not the end. Now, can you?
How bad this has gotten is that it is even if I were to disagree with you on how you are treating my autistic child and go, this is what she needs. This is what she has. This is what, like, with your autoprocessory disorder, when I would try to explain what your autoprocessory disorder is, the next statement I would get is, I'm not the enemy.
I'm sorry, you just a funny person. Oh, I in the world, except they adults have good points, and no matter, just
We don't need people to shut up. We need people to listen, which
no,
I guess
no,
does mean shut
no,
up.
mom. How do they listen if they're not gonna freaking shut up? How do they listen if they don't shut?
I mean, you might.
Yes, you can't telling me have my listen ears on when you don't have your listen ears on. Than you right now, and somehow.
There's also a statement to be had that, look, we all have our own lived life experience. What you and I have lived through having been neurodivergent since childhood is different than what people who you're screaming in a pillow again. What people who were diagnosed in their 40s when their kids were diagnosed have lived through. What you and I have lived through, I have been very hurt by some of the stuff some of the level 3 ASD high support needs parents have said online about those of us who have level 1, level 2, because it's like, you guys do realize it's hard for us too. I mean, it's hard for everyone. And this is not you're screaming into your belly again, but this is not we can learn from each other. There are some stuff that the level 1 kids are saying that makes perfect sense if you would sit and listen, but if you're not gonna sit and listen, it makes no sense. You know exactly what you are still screaming into a pillow. But on the other hand, you've got the same problem with I've been in IEP meetings again where the teachers are like, "I am not the enemy," and they shut down immediately. You are right. You do have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, correct, Lita? You're giving me a thumbs up, because you are still screaming. You went into screaming mode about all this. I went into I'm pretty sure your screams are being picked up by my mic. Your mic is muted, and I'm pretty sure you're, like, all the way at the other side of the room.
I lead people's ears because
But I think, but am I making any sense to you on what I'm trying to say? You're like, yes. Because I think I'm saying it in my autistic head. But there's a very big issue in this country, and it's not just in politics, it's across the board on this. And we've got to start listening to each other. And we got to start listening without finding fault. Because there are times that like your dance teachers would say something, and I'm like, we can compromise here on what she's doing. Good luck, but we can try to compromise here. But because you've done all this other stuff, Lita's not going to compromise anymore because she's gotten her heels dug in on and she thinks you hate her. Which is the number one thing they all wanted you to compromise on was whether or not you thought they hated you. Leta, I think I've lost you, and it is a podcast, and you have to talkie a bit. No, we've got to, we absolutely have to, as a nation and as a world, start acting like we care about our fellow man. I think even to the point, and we're going to switch horses on this one. A lot of the issues we've had with autistic wings and the idea that we need a separate space where we can learn in the way autistic people learn, that has been strangely terrible for people to come to terms with.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, maybe also can't I mean, now.
I mean, I'm just rambling after the last week because it was a stressful week for everyone and a little sympathy. I think this last week has proven that sympathy and love for a fellow human being. I think we need to communicate. We need to communicate. We need to not let this idea, this notion that if you disagree with me, you're my enemy, to continue going.
So, like a pack of wolves? Yes, I am hyperfixating on wolves.
Well, but there's a thing is even some of those dance teachers, they didn't understand your hyperfixation means you probably know more than they do, and you're going to call them out on it. And I'm going to sit there and roll my eyes
So,
at them.
so help me, if gorillas, monkeys, and orangutans had reefs,
There were quite a few times that dance teachers told you, because you're not in school, so you don't get it from the educator side. You just get to hear about it from everyone, and we know who does IEPs and me. But you've had dance teachers tell you that gorillas and monkeys and stuff have weak fingers when they're trying to get you to do something in
I've
ballet.
also had a teacher
Um,
tell me a gorilla is a monkey.
you also had teachers like I would tell them you take everything literal, and the next thing I would know is you'd come out of dance crying about something they said, and they're like, "Well, I didn't mean it literally," and I'm like, "She takes everything literal," and then the next thing I would be told is, "I'm not the enemy."
Okay. First off, I think you might need psychological help for that factor. I don't know what trauma you got in your childhood, but you might want to see a psychiatric.
I think it's a society. I think as a society, we have gotten so divided with politics. This idea that you can disown people, you can drop
You know, you
friendships.
don't really have to care about politics since defect. None of you are politicians.
No, like that is how bad it's gotten, is even just me going saying something that is a simple fact. Um, she takes everything literally. They would say something literally to you, like the one about you being what, disowned or orphaned if you got it wrong.
Nobody said anything about orphanage. They just said disowned by the world, my family. Also, I'm pretty. I don't get that factor.
But they said this when you were what, 8, 9, and you still remember this.
It was 8. It was before my ninth birthday. It was like 2 months before my ninth birthday.
But that's where I'm saying it has gotten so divisive that I went in and went, she took that literally. And the teacher went, well, that was hyperbole. And I'm like, she took that literally. And the teacher's response to me was, I am not the enemy.
No, I think you're the enemy of yourself. I think you're your self enemy. I don't think you're the enemy of anybody else but yourself.
With your bad hip, I've had tried to explain to teachers it is a bone issue. Your bone, no, just bear with me just a little bit. Oh, you're squeezing it. I've tried to explain that your bad hip cannot function like a hinge joint or ball hinge joint. And the statement I get as they try to explain to me how to stretch out your muscles, and I'm like, it's not a muscle issue. It, well, yes, you need to probably do it, but it needs to be very gradually, but you're never going to have full movement in that hip. The next thing I get is, I am not the enemy.
Okay, seriously, nobody said that, and I'm starting to get concerned that you keep saying that. Are you okay mentally? Okay,
I would try to
mentally.
explain your auto processory issues. The next thing I'd get is, I am not the enemy.
Uh, to write you, man, you are son.
I have talked
Psychological.
psychiatrist, you're wanting a psychiatrist there.
Yeah,
I
I
have
think you
tried
need
to
a psychiatrist there because I think you might have a very deep road and mental problem.
I've tried to explain to like you and I know people who are having difficulties making these are almost house payments now, more than house payments for competition teams. They're paying 17, 18, nineteen
Well,
thousand for some of these
how
kids.
how about we just get rid of competition so
We can discuss that at a
together?
later date. But no, like I've had friends who've gone to the studio and gone, I can't afford this. I'm going to need to start cutting back on stuff. And the statement that the dance teachers have given is, I'm not the enemy. This is how divisive we've gotten as a country, is even having a legitimate conversation about where you are gets met with them automatically thinking you're acting like they're the enemy or feeling like they're the enemy on this. And if we cannot have conversations, we cannot have relationships. And the fact that the autistic people are discussing how relationships are supposed to work is probably a bad sign
Yeah,
here.
it's probably a bad sign when the people who barely interact with other humans are saying, "Oh, hey, I with humans better than you in different ways."
I went to psychiatric care to learn how to have relationships. I went to therapy to be told how you neurotypical people have relationships, and I'm kind of concerned that y'all forgot to go to the same therapy, obviously.
And that's kind of concerned that you who then go to speech therapy seem to know how to use English.
Finishing,
I am honestly concerned about that. I am literally honestly concerned about. I am literally honestly concerned about that. Literally, I am not joking here. I am not.
but it's gotten to the point that you can't state not even a different viewpoint, but a different lived life experience without it suddenly becoming. Because I've also been called, I mean, I am involved in politics, but my autism is not my politics, and your autism and hip are not my politics. And I have actually had people come up to me from both sides, and not politicos, but like normal human beings, when I'm trying to talk about your um limitations, and go, "Oh, you must be Democrat," or "Oh, you must be Republican," because I disagreed with their viewpoints on whether or not you can have limitations as a person with disabilities.
Okay, I have one factor, and I will say this now and here. Not much, unless it's interfering with your rights, then yes, because about politics. If
That's the thing, is they are thinking everything is interfering with their rights. It's gotten to the point that I don't think we even understand, like, if you have a different opinion than someone, people are like, "Do I wanna go
that
no?"
was
Anywho's, I think there's a lot to be said for things like, you do nee I'm a politico. I think you should be in my other life, I think you should be involved in politics, but people are getting to the point that they're seeing politics where politics does not exist.
yeah. So I will just say, uh, and this is coming from the who's been labeled aggressive, who is not aggressive. Maybe you should all be a little less aggressive. And this is literally coming from the autistic person who has been labeled aggressive and sometimes acts aggressive. Maybe stop being aggressive like a poor little abused puppy because I know you wouldn't. You were that poor little abused puppy. You just decided to be aggressive for no reason at all.
We have 2 poor little abused puppies, and of the 2 of
They are
them,
not that aggressive. They are
and
not your
Bella,
people level of aggressive.
I think we have gotten to the point,
I will just say
and
this. It is sad when even a poor little abused puppy is less aggressive than the rest of y'all.
I think we've gotten to the point that we need to start taking let's work on finishing this up. Um, so I think we need to, as a society, maybe take some you're like, "I have talked emotions, I'm emotion out, I'm going to die." Yeah, I think that's me too. I'm so tired and so emotionally drained after this past week. And the fact that the two people who get peopled out by talking to people are, like, highly suggesting we all start communicating probably says how bad the situation is. Don't you think, Lita? You are giving me a thumbs up. I think we can take, before I was mentioning a friend who worked with Mike Vick's pups after they were rescued, and a good majority of them learned, oh, we're trusting of humans. And if you can go through what they all went through and come out the other side and be, "Hi, I'd like to be your favorite lap puppy." I think we as a society, as a human race, need to start being more like the cute, adorable bully breeds. Why are you giving me a look?
I will just say this humanity is just starting to look sad and pathetic at this point. We're just looking like sad and pathetic at this point. You know what? Not even little ants. Not even little ants. Ants are literally better. Than humanity. We no specks of dust at this point.
Think you are correct in some ways, I think, but yeah, I think hopefully the last week's a turning point for our nation and for civilization as a whole, and we stop demonizing people on both sides of the aisle and just people on any side walk of
Also,
life.
animals too. If, can we please stop demonizing every animal species too?
Can I keep demonizing the orcas in the Mediterranean?
Yes. Never
Had to
mind.
think on that
Never
one.
mind. Never mind. The Mediterranean orcas. Yes. They seem to be the only orca thought that seems to have no want to keep anything alive.
It's not going to be done. You are back to sleep or going, I am emotionally exhausted after talking about emotions. I hope we get better as a nation. We have an amazing guest on Friday. Sabrina's on Friday with the OSO Safe Kids program. There will be a warning at the front. That was another emotional episode to record for our younger audience. Maybe skip that episode. But for parents, people over 18, it's an episode you need to be listening to and to talk to your kids about. Anything else you want to add, Lita, before we call it a week?
You know, the solution to this is doing the Sleeping Beauty thing where the castle falls asleep with her, except that's going to be the whole nation globally. You know what? Just put human citizen for 1,000 years and see how that gets good.
Okay, so this is how bad it is. Your generation is so psychologically scarred with everything you're going through. Hello, mini Gen X. Anywho's, try communicating with others this week. Listen, Leader's right. You got more ears than you got a mouth. Shutting up and listening to the other person and actually listening.
Also, that right that they also kind of look like pathetic little grains of sand.
I mean, overall,
They
I
do.
think
They do look like
humanity as a
pathetic little
whole.
grains of sand. They are pathetic. They are little. They are grains of sand, and there's so many grains of sand.
I
They're
mean,
pathetic. And
as a whole, humanity is huge, and we're just grains of sands upon a beach. You are correct. You're like, I am emotionally drained. If you haven't liked, comment, share, subscribe, you can now comment on Spotify episodes. You can always, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all your favorite streaming platform services, you can also text us with what you thought of the episode. And I have a funny feeling this one's going to divide people. If you're watching on YouTube or what you want to say?
please don't get divided by this. Please, this is literally a video about how we shouldn't be divided. Please don't get divided on this. Please don't get divided on this. How we should be divided on a video that is literally about how we shouldn't be divided and how we should be together as one, as not just a nation, but as a society, the culture, and the whole global world. Then you from the video. Just please just rewatch the video if you haven't gotten a message from this video. Like, I every night, like every single night, just turn on this video every single night.
This is also a
Then you might
podcast.
every single night, every single
Th
night.
This is also a podcast. They can stream it as they sleep on their favorite streaming service, and I believe you can actually put a repeat single episode on Amazon. Don't know why you'd wanna do that, but
You shall listen to the child. You shall not be divided on this. You shall listen to the 14-year-old telling you not to be divided on this thing. Uh, you shall have opinions, but you should.
we we have more in common than divides us. As a nation, as a human race, we have more in common than divides us. Next week, we go back to happy episodes. I think next Tuesday we're going to discuss a little bit about Autistic Wings, the nonprofit dance studio for autistic dancers ages 3 to 100. Yes, I borrowed the Lego ages for that one. That you found it in Colorado Springs, and all that. Talk a little bit more about you learning to golf and tap dance at the same time, because that one's a fun one to discuss. And then we have more. Sabrina's going to be amazing. I absolutely, as much as the episode on Friday was taxing to record emotionally for everyone involved, I think Sabrina is an amazing guest, and I honestly can't wait to have her on again. And y'all haven't even met her yet. But yeah, like, try to remember, and this is going to be divisive, but we do have more in common. Happy Tap Tuesday, everyone.